Reggae Research Project by Jack, Conrad, Kylie, and Stella. Where did reggae originate? The Rastafarian movement, which started in Jamaica during the 1930s after Haile Selassie I became Emperor of Ethiopia, had a huge impact on reggae music. Rastafarians saw Selassie as a divine figure and a symbol of hope for black people facing oppression. Reggae music became the perfect way to share their powerful message, mixing catchy, upbeat rhythms with serious themes of fighting for freedom and justice. Even though the music sounds fun and energetic, the lyrics often dig into deep, challenging topics like social inequality, racism, and the struggle for human rights. This unique style lets musicians tell stories of pain and hope, creating a sound that connects people across different backgrounds and experiences. Reggae wasn't just music, it was a way to speak out against injustice and it inspired people to believe in change. Rastafarianism is a Jamaican spiritual movement that began in the 1930s, blending Christian beliefs with African pride and resistance to oppression. Followers believe Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie I is God, and see Africa as a sacred homeland free from the Babylon of racist colonial society. Reggae music became the perfect way to spread their message, with artists like Bob Marley turning spiritual ideas about freedom, peace, and justice into powerful songs that connect people around the world. Through music, Rastafari shared their vision of spiritual rebellion, cultural identity, and hope for social change.
Who influenced reggae? Toots and the Maytals. They're a Jamaican musical group, one of the best-known ska and rocksteady vocal groups. The Maytals were formed in the early 1960s and were key figures in popularizing reggae music. Frontman Toots Hibbert, who died in 2020, was considered a reggae pioneer on par with Bob Marley. His soulful vocal style was compared to Otis Redding and led him to be named by Rolling Stone as one of the 100 greatest singers. Bunny and the Wailers. Bunny Wailer was the leader of one of the most famous reggae bands, the Wailers. Bunny Wailer was actually Bob Marley's stepbrother. A 3-time Grammy Award winner, he is considered one of the greatest reggae artists of all time. His band would often still collaborate with Bob Marley, even after Bob left the band. Peter Tosh was a part of the band The Wailers and Bunny Wailer and Bob Marley. He established himself as a successful solo artist and promoter of Rastafari. He was murdered in a home invasion. He was abandoned by his parents and moved around a lot as a kid. He was one of the biggest supporters of cannabis legalization.
Bob Marley. Bob Marley was born on February 6, 1945. He was born in 9 Mile, St. Anne Parish, Jamaica. He popularized reggae music globally, blending it with ska and rocksteady. The Legend compilation album remains one of the best-selling reggae albums of all time. His message of one love promoted unity and peace, resonating with people across cultural and national boundaries. The steel drum. The steel drum, also known as a steel pan, originated in Trinidad and Tobago in the 1930s, evolving from the musical traditions of enslaved Africans and the use of discarded metal objects like oil drums. Other instruments used were the guitar, electric bass, keyboard, and vocals.
Reggae is more than just music. It's a global cultural movement that started in Jamaica and spread worldwide. With its cool, laid-back beats and powerful messages about social justice, reggae inspired musicians everywhere to speak up about important issues. The music brought people together, breaking down cultural barriers and giving voice to those fighting for equality. Beyond the sound, reggae changed fashion too, with styles like dreadlocks and bright colors becoming symbols of freedom and identity. From rock bands to hip-hop artists, musicians have borrowed reggae's unique rhythm and spirit of rebellion, proving that music can be a powerful tool for creating change and understanding between people. Red is the blood of martyrs, yellow is wealth of Africa, and green is the vegetation of Ethiopia.
The 4/4 rhythm, their melodic lyrics. Reggae's soothing sound was born out of Jamaica's turbulent history. Colonized by Spain in the 1500s and then by England in 1655, enslaved people were transported from Africa to work on the country's sugar plantations. A blend of African and European influences met in mento, a distinctively Jamaican folk sound. At the end of the 50s, mento gave way to ska. Combining elements of mento and calypso with American R&B, ska was characterized by a walking bass line accented with rhythms on the offbeat. In 1962, Jamaica was granted independence and ska reflected the mood. Throughout the 50s and 60s, sound systems spread through the streets of Kingston. The big hitters were Arthur Duke Reid's The Trojan, Prince Buster's Voice of the People, and Cox and Dodd's Downbeat. As well as ska, the sound systems played the latest R&B inputs, but when the States fell in love with soul, the records dried up. To keep their decks spinning, producers looked to homegrown Jamaican talent. Fierce competition meant music melded, adapted and morphed quickly. Ska made way for rocksteady, slower, more rhythmic with added vocals. And before long, rocksteady ushered in the reggae revolution. The bass took charge and the tempo rose again to around 70 to 80 BPM. It was Toots and the Maytals' 1968 hit, Do the Reggae, that named the genre. Jamaica had been in the grip of political unrest for decades, and in Kingston, extreme poverty erupted into violence. Rude boys carrying ratchet knives and handguns doled out rough justice on the streets. In response, reggae's lyrics brought words of hope. In the 50s, 60s and 70s, over 100,000 people emigrated from Jamaica to the UK, including reggae's rising stars. In 1968, Trojan Records was formed. Reggae was now being made on two very different islands. Just like the mods and rockers before them, white working class youths or skinheads loved reggae because it was rebel music, sidelined by the BBC and exclusive to pirate stations and packed dance floors. Britain's love affair with reggae was cemented in 1969 when Desmond Decker's Israelites became the UK's first Jamaican recorded #1. Trojan's Tighten Up compilation albums were essential listening in London, Birmingham and Bristol, where the reggae scene blossomed. Across the Atlantic, in a volatile district called Trenchtown, Bob Marley was making his voice heard. A wailer was someone who called out from the ghetto, a sufferer and a witness. By this time, reggae was synonymous with the Rastafarian movement, and Marley's mission was one of peace and unity. By the late 70s, reggae was a global phenomenon. Today, there are more than 2,000 reggae festivals every year, and reggae sound lives on through dubstep, dancehall, jungle, ragga and grime.